you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, everybody gets a car. Good morning and welcome to Whenever You Are. I am Bandit Hayes and today I'm going to be talking about The Running Man and how this movie pretty reasonably predicted 2017. So The Running Man, as well as being a dance move that we used to do way back in the 90s, is also a film from 1987 that is set in the far distant future of 2017. Well, actually it's between 2017 and 2019, but whatever. Now, if you've seen The Running Man, you might be thinking that the whole thing about reality TV shows becoming as popular as they are is about the extent of what it predicted, but that's really just the beginning. So what I want to do is talk about some of the things that I noticed that I think it got right. But let's start with the game show aspect, because that probably is the most obvious one. So The Running Man is a TV show where criminals are thrown into an arena and hunted down by ex-military, ex-NFL, a WWF wrestler, and a part-time opera student. Big tough guys, pretty much. Now the rules are pretty simple. Either you get killed by the hunters, or stalkers as they're called, or you survive the course and you win fabulous prizes like a trial by jury, a suspended sentence, or maybe even a full pardon. Maybe you go through all that and you maybe get a full pardon? Pfft, you taking a piss, blood. But for some reason you still gotta keep the Running Man onesie on. Now here's the thing, shouldn't those things be covered in blood and sweat? Which means they would have to have taken off the onesie, washed it, and then put it back on. I mean, they're supposed to be free men. They don't even get to choose the clothes they later get killed in. And they don't even just get killed. They get Jim Hoppered, left in an old locker room. They don't even bother bury the bodies or cremate them. They're not even worth them trying to hide the evidence. So, in a nutshell, it's pretty much the Hunger Games, but without all the stupid haircuts. Most of the stupid haircuts. Alright, so maybe game shows aren't exactly like that, but you know, we're not too far off. I mean, we've already got things like Big Brother, where you stuff a bunch of people inside a house and then everybody watches them like a human zoo. We used to have a show called Gladiators, where you put regular people up against these big muscly dudes, and then consider how the public might react to a felon if they happen to be good looking. I mean, it seems to me only a matter of time before somebody puts a few things together like, hey. Alright, now some things that might not have been as apparent. Now first of all, during the opening crawl, it talks about how TV is controlled by the states and how art is being censored. Now here's the thing with this. Public broadcasting has been around for a long time, so the idea that the government might be controlling certain things that we see on television, I'm not sure you can call that a prediction. That's more like a yeah and what. But here's something that I think is interesting and maybe a little bit more closer to home. Now by now you've probably heard about the YouTube adpocalypse. Now YouTube has always been a place where people can say and do pretty much whatever they want. Now the plus side to that is that you get all kinds of cool creative content that otherwise might not find an audience. The downside to that is that entertainment for some means encouraging others to commit acts of violence or abusing their kids on camera for the lulz, allegedly. Now within all that negativity, advertisers decided that they don't want no part of it and decided to pull all their ads off of the YouTube platform. Well, I mean, they didn't pull all their ads, you know, there's still some running, but that's another story. The official story is that they pulled all their ads. Anyway, they pull all their ads off of the YouTube platform until YouTube pulls its socks up, which meant YouTube got a lot stricter than they already were about where ads were placed. Now because creators make a little kickback from the ad revenue, it meant that creators weren't making as much money as before. Now you can still say what you want, you just might not make any money from your videos, and considering that there isn't much room for nuance, videos that might otherwise be okay no longer are. So in turn it dissuades people from talking about subjects that might be of an importance to others. So in other words, you can say what you want, just as long as you say what we want. So not quite censorship, but it is still an attempt at controlling what people have access to. Alright, so that got a bit too serious, so let me lighten the mood a little bit. Boobs. Okay then, so here's some other things that it got right. Alright, now the scene where Amber Mendes gets home and she uses voice commands to turn on the lights and TV, I think we're pretty much there with Amazon Echo. I mean, I don't know if Alexa can make coffee, but I think we're just about there with everything else. Also, this movie predicted Suicide Squad with the explosive collars, and predicted the Fast and Furious 8 with the former law enforcement officer who gets sent to prison and escapes via the aid of a riot. Look, I got a bit too serious earlier. I'm just trying to balance it out by being a little extra silly now. Allow me, man, allow me. Now, I should probably point out that I have not seen Fast 8, and I was basing that on what I saw in the trailer. And these days, what you see in a trailer might not be representative of what you see in the movie. Or in other words, sometimes you get tricked into watching, which is something that the Running Man predicted. One of the reasons why the people are so into the Running Man show is because they believe that the runners are these real low down, dirty, rotten scoundrels that kill innocent people indiscriminately and sleep with 2, sometimes 3 men in 1 year. But of course, they're being lied to because we have no idea how many men Amber Mendes slept with. But we do know that Ben Richards didn't kill innocent people. Well, I mean, unless you count the prison guards, you know, I mean, they're just doing their job, trying to earn money for their family. They had nothing to do with the lies about Ben, and now how many kids don't have a father? Which means, by the way, they really didn't have to make up further lies about Ben Richards. I mean, they lied about him being the butcher of Bakersfield because he disobeyed a direct order. Scummy thing to do, but okay. But when he escaped from prison and killed all those guards, that's a genuine criminal offense. Instead of that, they ran with a made-up story about him killing innocent people at the airport, and how many people were at the airport who would have seen that he didn't kill anybody there. And that is a pretty accurate prediction of how the media will run with made-up stories about Donald Trump to further a narrative. Donald Trump does so many stupid things, you really don't need to make things up. In fact, Donald Trump is like a cross between Ben Richards and Damon Killian. Killian is a reality TV show host with the government in the palm of his hand. Donald Trump is a former reality TV show host who now is the government. All right, now this one I think is probably the most subtle prediction that the Running Man makes. Now here's what happens. Captain Freedom gets interrupted twice. Once when his workout program was on, it gets interrupted to bring you the news about Ben Richards. And again, when Captain Freedom is reporting from the locker room, he's about to tell a story about the good old days of hunting. He gets interrupted by Damon Killian because the runners had entered the first quad. And then after he is called to wardrobe, he confronts Killian about not wanting to go out there looking like a discount Robocop and would much rather fight with his bare hands. Killian dismisses him by saying, "No, he won't kill you if you are armed." He doesn't say that, but if you got that reference, put it in the comments. And then they decide to show a video of Captain Freedom fighting and killing a couple of jabronis, but with Ben Richards and Amber Mendes' likeness digitally superimposed over them, so people think that Ben and Amber are dead. So, 2 things. 1, it predicted Star Wars Rogue One and every other movie that used a digital likeness to cover up an actor. And 2, is this a way of saying that freedom doesn't really exist? That it's just something that gets dangled in front of you, lets you think it's there, but what you think is freedom is actually a very controlled message? A few things to consider. Captain Freedom talked about the Running Man being about death and honor, but Killian didn't want to hear it. Also, towards the end, Killian straight up admits to Ben that TV has been controlling people's thoughts for 50 years. So perhaps the lesson here is, don't believe everything you see on TV or in the newspapers or on the internet, especially the internet. Apart from me, of course, because Hayes knows everything. Asterisk. Alright, now a few more things before I end this video. First off, something that the Running Man kind of got wrong and right at the same time. Now there's a part where Killian has taken phone calls from the public and a woman calls in to ask how can she make donations to the dead stalkers' families, and Killian says that she can send a check. And checks have been pretty obsolete for a long time now. I mean, at this point, checks probably come up in history class when learning about the dark ages of 1991, when the internet was just 10 computers connected through a very long piece of string. But to be fair, checks are actually still commonly used in North America where this film is set, so I guess it's kinda correct. I don't know why anybody would still be using checks these days. I mean, you've got PayPal, you've got bank transfer, you can do it through your phone. There's just so many more convenient ways of transferring money around. Come on, America, get with the times. Also, Amber gives the raw footage of the Bakersfield incident to the Resistance, and I guess we're supposed to think that she hid it in her vagina or something, but here's the thing. The network knew that she stole the footage from the archive because she was caught red-handed. So, why didn't they take it off her? I mean, the security guard that caught her would have had plenty of time to take it back off her way before she stuffed it up her crack or wherever she put it. And again with Amber, the part where Dynamo is about to show her ridiculous. Before that, Amber had a gun. She shot a man, bumped into Dynamo, drops the gun, then punched Dynamo in the balls. All that to say, she's pretty capable of looking out for herself. Now, when she punched Dynamo, Dynamo had his trousers up. The movie goes away, shows some other stuff, and when it comes back, Dynamo has his trousers down and is climbing on top of her. So, while the camera was away, what was Amber doing while Dynamo was pulling his pants down? She punched him. Now, he did grab her right away, but he would have had to have let go so that he can take his trousers down, which means she had time to pick up the gun then, but she didn't. She waits while he pulls his pants down and then climbs on top of her. Look, I'm not trying to victim blame here, I'm just saying, mixed signals. And that is what I think of the Running Man. What do you think? Usain Bolt or Ben Johnson? Let me know down below, and if you liked this video, give it a like and share it amongst your friends. If you did not like it, then give it a dislike and share it amongst your enemies. Either way, let me know your reasons in the comments. Subscribe if you have not already. Thank you for watching, and until whenever, if ever, one of us is in deep trouble.